Everybody, this is Phoebe with Love Relationships Real Talk. Today's episode is how to master the role of the peacemaker. So this is very close to my heart, as I mentioned in the original video where I mapped out all 6 roles, and I told you that this is the role I've lived with for all of my life as the peacemaker. These roles a lot of times originate in our childhoods, and then they do play out in our adult lives. The interesting fact is that these roles might have been useful to us when we were children, and they actually define who we are as adults, but there are aspects to those roles that don't work for the relationship that we're going to maintain for a lifetime. So these roles have a lot of facets to them, and they are useful in a lot of ways because they helped us survive and cope with things in our upbringing. Those strategies or the things that we did during those times may not be necessary any longer as we are adults. First, I'm going to read to you the letter that inspired this role of the peacemaker. It goes like this. I work really hard in my relationship to let my love know that I am supportive and faithful. I don't want to do anything to make him feel like he can't trust me or that I will abandon him. He has had a very difficult upbringing and he has abandonment issues. So I truly try hard to let him know that he can trust me and I will not leave him. We have been married for 2 years and together for a total of 12 years. I have a lot to deal with in our relationship because he is highly emotional and inconsistent within our relationship. No matter what I tell him or what I do to let him know that I'm in this for the long haul, he keeps telling me he doesn't know if he should continue in the relationship because he is unsure and wants me to be happy. He knows that there are times that he makes me unhappy because his actions are unpredictable and jarring. I thought that getting married would ease his anxiety around his abandonment. But things have gotten progressively worse, as he often plays with extremes and my emotions and my life in general. I'm exhausted, and many times I feel like getting off of this ride, but then I'll just be another person in his life who has abandoned him. I want to stand by him, but I'm feeling so tired of fighting for this all by myself. How can I manage my love's fears and needs as well as my own? So usually after reading a letter, I will address the concerns the person writing the letter has with their partner. But in all actuality, I can't really give input about this person's partner because they have their own set of issues. Now, if they wrote the letter, I would be able to address their issues based on based on the role that they're playing in the relationship. But in this instance, I prefer to focus on the role that the viewer is playing in the relationship because that's the only thing you can control is yourself. You can learn based on your partner's role how to interact with them in a more productive and loving way and come to a place of compromise as you learn about their role. But I really can't put a role on the viewer's partner. But what I see very clearly that this viewer is a peacemaker. This viewer wants everything to be calm and loving and to go smoothly. She doesn't want disruption. She doesn't want this up and down and roller coaster ride in the relationship. She's putting her 100% full effort of what she knows how to do to show someone that she is all in in this love relationship. She's doing everything she possibly can, but she's still not getting the result that she thinks she should be receiving. And I totally understand this. All peacemakers think that all they have to do is address their partner's fears, convince them that they're not going to be like everyone else, and to make sure that the relationship moves forward in peace and love and happiness. That's what the peacemaker does. I know this for sure. And in doing that, they feel like they can control the way that their partner will feel. But in fact, their partner has their own set of issues and things that they need to work out to heal and grow in their own lives. And the peacemaker can't fix it. We want to fix it so desperately because we want everything to be okay. But the fact of the matter is that we can't fix what's going on in someone else. The only thing we can do is to control our actions and behaviors and to address situations that are presented to us in a particular way. That's the only thing that we can do inside of our relationships. We can't make people be another way. We can't fix them, and we can't control how they're going to receive what we have to give. So that's the struggle here that this person is having. And the bottom line is that they just need to realize that if they aren't going to receive your love and your commitment as it is, then there's not really too much more you can do for the relationship. They have to realize that they're safe. They have to realize that this is a relationship that's going to promote their growth and their healing as they need it inside of an adult relationship. But if they don't realize that on their own, then there's nothing that we or anyone else can do. They have to come to the realization themselves. So the peacemaker gets into trouble trying to make this a reality for their partners. So although the peacemaker is all about good intentions, the reality is that there has to be in life times where growth and healing are painful. And one thing that the peacemaker tends to do is they try their very damnedest to prevent any disturbance like that from happening. But that's life. Life gets hard sometimes. Life gets messy sometimes. Life is chaotic. Emotions run high. And when that happens, we have to let it happen, because on the other side of that is growth and healing for the person who had to deal with that. So a lot of times when we're in relationship with peacemakers try to stifle that. They try to do everything they can to prevent a thing from happening. But in reality, there's nothing you can do to prevent life from happening. It's going to happen with or without you. And so you have to find a way to have that peacemaker spirit about you within yourself, but also allow for life experiences to happen to individuals inside of the relationship as well as for yourself. Peacemakers also try to prevent disturbance in their own lives. And a lot of times it's by controlling what the other people in their lives are doing. So this is what the peacemaker has to learn to do. Number one, let life happen. Don't get freaked out when people are going through stuff, when people are having to learn and deal with their issues as adults, and go to rock bottom if need be, in order to understand what they need to change in their lives in order to be more healthy and balanced in their lives. These things need to happen for individuals. And as peacemakers, we are not entitled to get in the way of that progress for those individuals or ourselves. We won't grow either if we try to prevent disturbance or discomfort happening in our own lives. One thing that peacemakers really need to learn how to do in order to balance the relationship so that all of these things do get to occur is to engage in authentic, real talk conversations. So come up when questions or situations or conflicts come up, the peacemaker needs to be able to be honest and real about their feelings and emotions, and let the other person be honest and real about their emotions and situations. I can attest to how my peacemaker responds inside of my relationship with Mark, because Mark is very passionate and very intentional and focused as a man, an African American man in this world. And a lot of times he uses me as his listening ear or a place for venting his frustrations. And sometimes it makes me really uncomfortable to be in that space with him, but I have to let him go there. I have to be a stand for him, a presence for him that shows, if not understanding, because I don't understand what it is to be a Black man in America and dealing with the frustrations and struggles that they deal with, even as a Black woman. But I need to be able to be a listening and a stand for my partner in order for him to feel open and free enough inside of our relationships to say whatever he needs to say, to deal with those frustrations and the things that are happening to him in our society. I have to be that for him. And it makes him feel safe and listened to and heard when I'm able to do that. And sometimes it gets difficult and sometimes it gets uncomfortable, but I've learned that what's most important is that he has this opportunity, and I've provided the space for him to express himself in any way he needs to, passionately, with anger, with frustration and disruption. I need to let him go through that in order for him to be able to grow and develop as a human being on this earth, not just as an African American male in our society. So this is what I'm thinking about in my own life as a peacemaker. And I know that other peacemakers out there have similar situations in their lives where their partners need to express themselves in ways that they don't always feel comfortable. And the first thing we try to do is steady the environment, to bring down the energy, to stifle, to not have things erupt and be what we might consider unmanageable. So what we need to allow for within the confines of everyone is safe, that we need to allow for people to be who they are and do the things that they need to do. And inside of a love relationship, that you are providing a space for them to do that and be that. So I would suggest to the viewer, stop working so hard. Stop working so hard to convince your partner that you're their savior, because you're not. You can't save them. You can only be there to support them. But they have to be able to get past these abandonment issues, these insecurities, these nagging questions, this indecision. They have to get through those things on their own. And so for me, if you're not willing, or you've come to the point where you feel like you've done everything that you can do inside of this relationship and things aren't shifting for your partner, then you have to just take care of yourself. You have to do what's best for you. And if that assurance that you're providing your partner is not making a difference for them, and they keep taking you on this emotional roller coaster that you spoke of, then you just have to make a decision that works best for you, and stop putting your partner's needs and issues above your own, because what you need is important also. But it seems like the relationship is consumed by your partner's ebbs and flows within the relationship, and there's no fixing that person, and you shouldn't be trying to fix them anyway. You need to address your needs first and foremost at this point, because you haven't been thus far. You've been allowing the other person to dictate the tone of the relationship. You haven't been putting forth that you have an expectation for the way you want the relationship to go and feel. So it's a very difficult situation in certain instances because you're looking at all of this through the lens of emotion. But I think it's also very clear that you're not getting your needs met in this relationship either. And when you choose not to allow your needs to be met, then you get weary, you get tired. And then when you do that, there's only so much you can give to the things that you do care about or the people you do care about. Because basically the inconsistencies and the emotional drain that the relationship pulls off of you and the relationship makes it very difficult for you to function at your highest and greatest level in the world. So you decide what you think is more important. If you think that your partner feeling secure and loved and taken care of inside of the relationship, whether they feel that way or not, is more important, or you taking care of yourself and being loved and appreciated and held to the highest level given the amount of energy you're willing to put in a relationship is more important, then you decide what you think would be better for you. But you need to start putting yourself first in any case. So I hope this helped. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time on Love Relationships, Real Talk.